Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dig into the juicy details of corporate filings that most people gloss over. And today we've got Aytu BioPharma Incorporated. And let's just say their latest proxy statement is serving up a whole lot of director elections and executive pay. Aytu BioPharma Inc. name of registrant as specified in its charter scroll. So what is the big story here? It is primarily about getting shareholder approval for the company's upcoming annual meeting, specifically electing directors, ratifying their auditors, and giving a thumbs up or thumbs down on executive compensation. It's standard procedure, but the devil is always in the details, and sometimes those details reveal more than the company might want them to. Before we dive in, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents like this, make sure you are subscribed. And hey, if you want to chat with us and other corporate nerds about these filings, join our Discord community. The link is in the description below. Scroll notice of annual meeting of stockholders to be held the 10th of December. 2025 Scroll. This document is essentially an invitation and a guide for Aytu BioPharma shareholders to vote on important matters at their annual meeting on the 10th of December 2025. They're asking shareholders to elect 5 directors, approve Grant Thornton LLP as their independent auditors for the fiscal year ending the 30th of June 2026, and to give an advisory vote on executive pay. Now, who gets a say in all this? Anyone who owned Aytu BioPharma stock as of the 13th of October 2025. On that date, there were over 10 million shares of common stock outstanding and eligible to vote. It's a pretty standard setup for a company of Aytu's size, setting the stage for how decisions will be made. Let's talk about the people running the show, the directors. They're proposing to re-elect the 5 current directors. The filing gives us a snapshot of who they are, their ages, and how long they've been on the board. We see Joshua R. Disbrow, the CEO, John Adonofrio Jr., the chairman, and then Carl C. Dockery, Abhinav Jain, and Vivian H. Liu. The report seems to highlight their various experiences. We're told they have public company board experience, executive experience, and a lot of pharmaceutical industry background. That's important because running a pharma company requires specific knowledge. They also break down director experience with things like financial analysis, mergers and acquisitions, and even commercial operations. It's like a resume for the boardroom. And in a look at diversity, as of late October 2025, out of 5 directors, 4 are male and 1 is female. Demographically, there is 1 Asian director and 3 white directors. They mention not having a formal diversity policy, but that diversity is considered a positive attribute. It's a number, and for some investors, numbers like these matter when assessing board composition and outlook. Scroll proposal number 2 to scroll. Next up, the company is asking shareholders to rubber stamp their choice of Grant Thornton LLP as their independent auditor for the upcoming fiscal year ending the 30th of June 2026. This is pretty standard practice. Auditors check the company's financial statements to make sure they are accurate and follow the rules. Now, let's peek at the fees paid to Grant Thornton. For the year ended the 30th of June 2025, the audit fees were $849,000. Compare that to the $777,000 from the previous year. That is an increase of about 9%. Then there were 0 audit-related fees and 0 tax fees in 2025. Interestingly, in 2024, they paid $231,000 for tax fees and $10,000 for other fees. So it looks like they've shifted some focus, or perhaps just simplified their service needs with their auditor this past year. The total for 2025 comes out to $849,000, down from $1,018,000 in 2024. The decrease is mainly because the tax and other fees from 2024 are gone in 2025. This might mean they handled tax matters internally or with a different provider this year. Scroll proposal number 3. Scroll and then we get to the fun part, the advisory vote on executive compensation. This is the say on pay proposal. While the vote isn't binding, it's essentially a way for shareholders to tell the board if they think the company's top execs are being paid fairly for their performance. Let's dive into the executive compensation details. For the year ended the 30th of June 2025, Joshua R. Disbrow, the CEO, earned a total compensation of $883,928 made up of a $590,000 salary and $247,800 in stock awards. This is a slight decrease from 2024 where his total compensation was $928,217. Also including a $590,000 salary, but with more in stock awards at $55,017. And let's not forget the $283,200 in non-equity incentive plan compensation, which are essentially bonuses. So while salary stayed the same, The bonus portion dropped significantly. Looking at other top executives, Ryan J. Selhorn, the CFO, had total compensation of around $539,000 in 2025. He stepped into the CFO role in November 2024, so his numbers are for a partial year in that capacity, but represent an increase from his previous roles. Jarrett T. Disbrow, the Chief Business Officer, earned about $549,000 in 2025, similar to his pay in 2024. Greg Pizamuka, the Chief Commercial Officer, made around $522,000 in 2025. His pay also saw a slight increase from 2024. It's important to note that the all other compensation column is pretty much zero for these guys, suggesting they're not getting a ton of fancy perks. Scroll compensation actually paid to Paydo, 1-3. Scroll now, the seg key wants us to look at compensation actually paid, or CAP. It is a bit of a complex calculation that adjusts the summary compensation table numbers. For the CEO Joshua R. Disbrow, the cap in 2025 was about $867,000, down from about $919,000 in 2024, and a big drop from 2023's $391,000. For the other named executives, the average cap in 2025 was about $443,000, down from $564,000 in 2024 and $408,000 in 2023. The report also compares this cap to the company's total shareholder return, or TSR, in 2025. An initial $100 investment would be worth about $15.8. That's down from $21.16 in 2024 and $11.59 in 2023. So while executive pay might have seen some fluctuations, the overall shareholder return has been pretty rough, especially in 2023 and 2024, with a bit of a recovery in 2025, though still far from a home run. And speaking of performance, let's look at the bottom line. In 2025, Aytu BioPharma reported a net loss of $13.6 million. This is an improvement from the $15.8 million net loss in 2024 and the $17.1 million net loss in 2023. So they are losing less money, which is good, but they are still losing money. This is a critical point for any company, especially in the highly competitive pharmaceutical space. Scroll Joshua R. Disbrow agreement. Scroll looking at employment agreements. Joshua R. Disbrow has an amended and restated employment agreement. It has 1-year terms that auto-renew, and it also details what happens in case of a change in control or termination. For instance, if he is terminated without cause or resigns for good reason, he is entitled to a significant severance package, including 2.5 times his base salary, and continued health benefits for up to 2 years. That is a pretty robust safety net for the CEO Scroll Ryan J. Selhorn agreement. Scroll Ryan J. Selhorn, the CFO appointed in November 2024, also has an agreement. He gets a base salary of $400,000, a target bonus of 40%, and a restricted stock grant. His severance package is also defined, including 12 months of salary and COBRA continuation, if terminated without cause or for good reason. Jarrett T. Disbrow, Chief Business Officer and brother to the CEO, has an amended agreement that mirrors some of the terms regarding equity acceleration and the definition of cause for termination, aligning with his brother's agreement. His severance for termination without cause or for good reason is 2 times his base salary, plus accelerated vesting of awards and continued health benefits. Similarly, Greg Pizamuka, the Chief Commercial Officer, has an agreement with provisions for severance and change in control scenarios, generally including salary continuation and accelerated vesting of equity awards. These agreements lay out clear financial terms for the executives in various scenarios like termination. For example, if the CEO Joshua R. Disbrow is terminated without cause, he gets 2.5 times his base salary, plus continued health benefits for up to 2 years and a pro rata bonus. For Jarrett T. Disbrow, it is 2 times his base salary, accelerated vesting, and 2 years of health benefits. For Selhorn and Pizamuka, it is 1 times their base salary, immediate vesting, 12 months of health benefits, and a pro rata bonus. These are significant payouts. And it highlights how the company is structured to retain its top talent, but also the costs associated with that retention. Scroll number of shares beneficially own T-Scroll. Moving on to ownership, let's look at who actually owns a significant chunk of Aytu BioPharma, Nantahala Capital Management. LLC holds about 10.6% of the company's shares. Stonepine Capital Management LLC is next with 8.8%, then LWM Investment Company Inc. with 6.0%, and Cannon Wealth Management LLC with 5.6%. Lawrence W. Litton also holds a substantial amount. These are major players, and their holdings can significantly influence the company's direction. Scroll Joshua R. Disbrow, 10 Scroll, And our own executives. Joshua R. Disbrow, the CEO, holds about 2.4% of the company. Ryan J. Selhorn, the CFO, has around 0.6%. Jarrett T. Disbrow, the Chief Business Officer, holds about 0.7%. And Greg Pizamuka, the Chief Commercial Officer, holds about 0.5%. When you add up all the directors and executive officers, they collectively own about 4.9% of the company. It is interesting to see the CEO owning a more significant stake compared to some of the other top execs, which is not uncommon. Now, a quick note on related party transactions. Jarrett T. Disbrow, the CEO's brother, is employed as Chief Business Officer. His compensation for the year ended the 30th of June 2025 was around $540,000, including salary and bonus. This is a typical disclosure for family members in key positions. So, what is our take on Aytu BioPharma right now? Looking at these numbers, Aytu BioPharma is in a tough spot. They are losing money, although the losses are getting smaller, which is a positive sign. The executive compensation, particularly severance packages and the slight increase in pay for some in the last year, seems quite generous, especially considering the company is still operating at a loss. The substantial holdings by outside investment firms like Nantahala and Stonepine suggest that these institutions are looking for positive changes or perhaps see value in the company that isn't fully reflected in its current performance. The election of directors is routine, but the generous severance packages for top executives do raise a flag. It suggests a focus on retaining talent, but also a potential cost burden if things don't go as planned. The fact that the CEO's brother is in a high level position with significant compensation is also noteworthy. It is a common practice, but something to keep an eye on. The company is clearly trying to right the ship, evidenced by the shrinking net loss. However, the path to profitability is still evident. The key will be whether they can translate their operational strategies and executive talent into sustainable revenue growth, and ultimately positive net income. The lack of strong overall shareholder return indicated in the pay versus performance section is a clear signal that for all the money being paid out, shareholders haven't seen commensurate gains recently. Alright? That is our breakdown of Aytu BioPharma's latest proxy filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.